Before I begin this tier list, you guys should probably take this list with a grain of salt. Because I do not have nearly as much experience in this game as most top and high level players. I'm just a mid level player. But if you enjoyed the video, make sure you like and subscribe. So today we are going to be making a tier list. More specifically, a matchup chart. And I've been playing this game ever since Ultimate's release, but I haven't been seriously competing in it since 2024. I've only been competing in this game for 2024 and 2025. So I don't have as much experience as some of the rare characters as I do with more of the popular characters, but I'm going to try and make this list as fair and as unbiased as possible, but there probably will be some bias in this list. And if you have a question for where I put a character in the tier list, make sure you leave a comment, or I'm going to post the full tier list on my Twitter later, and I'll link my Twitter below so you guys can take a look at that too. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to let me know, and I will talk to you about the matchup the best I can. So we're just going to go from top to bottom here, and I'm going to do my best to explain my reasoning behind every character. So first, Banjo. I feel like this one is a pretty lock in for a +1. The reason being, Banjo does have some stuff that does make it a little tricky for us to play neutral. Like, we have to hard camp in this matchup. If we try playing aggressive, we're just going to get walled out with stuff like nair, dash back, forward air, just dash back a lot of stuff. And then Banjo can also pretty easily camp us with grenade and neutral B. But once you get down the Banjo player's flowchart, this matchup just doesn't become that hard. But you do have to play pretty campy in this matchup, which is why I'm not putting this in 1.5 or higher. But I feel like it's still a pretty comfortable matchup for us. The only thing about this matchup is that we're not able to easily edgeguard Banjo. Like, he still has Wonder Wing, and he still has somewhat of an infinite recovery, but his recovery options are pretty telegraphed, or they're telegraphed enough to where we can pretty easily abuse him off stage, force him to use a Wonder Wing, and then continue abusing him off stage like that. But he has enough tools on stage to make us play slow and defensive. But once you get past that point, I feel like this matchup just becomes pretty comfortable. On Wi-Fi, it's a little different because obviously Wi-Fi Banjo is broken, but I still feel like Yoshi wins that matchup on Wi-Fi. Up next is Bayonetta, and Bayo, this one's tricky because on paper it's a dead even matchup, I feel like, which I'm gonna put it here for now, but it's tricky because the Yoshi and the Bayo player always have to be adjusting their game plans. Like, obviously Yoshi's heavy, and Bayo's really only path to winning this matchup is to be able to kill Yoshi off the top or an extremely long combo. But if the Yoshi knows how to SDI, he can pretty easily get away with combos. But Yoshi's main escape path and disadvantage is using his double jump armor. And Bayo obviously can just follow around Yoshi, force him to land, and then just continue a string. And if all Yoshi has to rely on is SDI, that's not going to be super consistent. That's not going to be a super consistent matchup. I still feel like it's even though, just because Yoshi just lives so long against Bayo. Yoshi can take the Bayo combos as long as he knows how to SDI from them, not die off the top or the side, and then just play some defensive neutral and just be able to cheese Bayo at 80. So it's one of those matchups where Yoshi will be losing at first, but then you'll slowly start seeing him make a comeback, if that makes sense. Bowser is also going to be even, which might come as a surprise considering this dude's a freaking heavyweight and Yoshi's a combo machine. But it makes so much sense because Bowser has hitboxes like a swordie, and Yoshi does not like dealing with big hitboxes. Plus, Bowser is fast enough to be able to keep up with Yoshi at times, making it pretty hard to land against him sometimes. Plus, we can't really interact with his shield too much because he has up B out of shield, which is frame 6. You could potentially get around that with an egg lay or a spaced or a space pivot grab, but if the Bowser player is smart enough, they'll just up B preemptively. Or they'll just react to the egg lay or the spot or the pivot grab with a spot dodge, and they'll just up B anyways. So the main things you're really looking out for in this matchup are just fair usage, up B usage, and then just trying to bait his landings with down air too, which a lot of Bowser players do tend to use against Yoshi. And it's a pretty effective tool for Yoshi players that are just playing really aggressive in the matchup. It's another matchup where you're going to have to play super slow to win. And it's just like Bayo, where instead of Bayo having us live forever, it's us making Bowser live forever. And Bowser can just cheese us whenever he wants with one good read. So it's another matchup where you're just going to have to play patiently. And I feel like for that, I'm going to place it in even. Bowser Jr., I think Yoshi wins this one comfortably. Bowser Jr. isn't heavy enough to where he just lives forever. But he also just doesn't do anything that really works against Yoshi. He does have good combos against Yoshi, but Yoshi could just hop out of those. His best anti-air against Yoshi is up air, and which is pretty telegraphed, honestly, and Yoshi could just air dodge through it, or he could even down air through it, I believe up air Yoshi can down air through, but I could be wrong about that. Junior also has a freaking awful hurt box, which makes it easier for us to be able to jab lock and stuff. So that's also something. And then we force Junior to approach us anyways, because his only two projectiles, being Mecha Koopa and his neutral B, those just really hurt him for us, because we're just able to egg camp him and force him to approach us. Of course, we still have to play smart in this matchup, because if the Junior has like a crazy flow state, or if they're just super good with side B setups, then we're going to lose. But I just imagine this matchup as playing against a Sonic, but without all the benefits of Spin Dash. Byleth, I personally don't like this matchup as a Yoshi player, but I cannot deny that it's at least even. Probably higher, honestly. The main thing that gives me trouble in this matchup is I'm just playing defensively into Byleth, and Byleth just hard outranges me. It's like playing an easier version of Sephiroth in a way, but Byleth is just super slow that I can just wail on combos. And then Nair obviously is obnoxious to deal with, but I'm going to move this to this simply because Byleth can be edge guarded. If Byleth had a better recovery, I do believe this would be an even matchup. But Byleth just gets hard abused and disadvantaged to where Yoshi can just pull out a win if both players are about even skill level. It's still a matchup check matchup, I feel like, though. The Yoshi still has to play careful here. But I don't have a lot to say about this matchup. Falcon's also tricky. Falcon's one of those characters that obviously he has no projectiles, so Yoshi can just projectile camp him. But the thing is, he's so fast that he can just close that distance whenever he wants. I am going to place this in... This is tricky. I'm going to put it here. I'm going to put it in even. I do feel like this is an even matchup. Because you still have to be careful off stage against Falcon. He can just cheese you with side B or up B, take your jump. And then he obviously has freaking stupid hitboxes that make it super hard for us to predict what's safe and what's not safe, for me at least. And then he just has a lot of ways I feel like he can just steal your jump. And the main thing about him is that I feel like he has a really good grab game, and characters with good grab games I feel like do well against Yoshi, who just likes to shield a lot. So if the Yoshi can't react in time, Falcon's just land grabs on us for free. And Falcon also has a command grab with up B2, which I feel like is absurd. Plus Falcon's obviously pretty good at catching landings too with up air and up smash, which is one of Yoshi's main weaknesses. So I'll place that in even. Chrom Chrom, I'm going to put in minus 0.5. Chrom is tricky because obviously he can be edge guarded, but with Yoshi it's weird because Yoshi doesn't have like a disjoint or anything to safely edge guard Chrom, so he could still get cheesed at 0 with up B. Yoshi also has to wait for the Chrom player to approach. But again, Chrom is just so fast, and he has a disjoint that it really doesn't matter. He'll just be mashing on your shield anyways, and it's so hard to punish that. Especially with Chrom, who can actually space his aerials and get reward off of that, unlike Roy, who has to play more risky. And Chrom is just more consistent in the matchup against Yoshi than Roy, which makes Chrom a tougher matchup than Roy naturally. Like, I don't like either character in the matchup, but I feel like Chrom is definitely worse. But I don't know if it's enough to separate them on a tier list just yet. I'll think about it when I get to Roy down here. Cloud, you might be surprised, but Cloud is only a -1, I feel like. I feel like the more I've been learning this matchup, the more I've been realizing that Cloud is not as bad as I thought he was. Like, he's still an awful matchup, don't get me wrong, but he does have some flaws that just make it easier for me to play against him. Like, most Clouds, they will usually, when they approach you, they will usually either approach you on the ground, which can be telegraphed, I guess, or they'll approach you from the air with a full hop. You usually will not see a Cloud back or short hop unless if they're going to throw out a back air. So if you see a Cloud full hopping, you can usually just react to that with an up air or a nair and get the Cloud off of you instantly. This is still a bad matchup, obviously, because Cloud does have disjoints that just destroy us in disadvantage. He has moves that can just break our double jump armor. Cross slash is extremely annoying to deal with. Up B is extremely annoying to deal with. And he just has moves that at times it's impossible to punish him for it, which is the main thing, which is a good thing that Yoshi does, I feel like, is just punishing people in advantage and taking people by surprise and disadvantage. So Cloud obviously -1, but I don't think he goes lower. Corrin, I'm also going to put in hard but still playable. Corrin isn't as egregious as Cloud when I'm in disadvantage, but Corrin just has combos that last forever. And then Corrin, I feel like, has the better anti-airs with up air, just shredding me in disadvantage when I'm trying to land. Obviously, disjoints make it extremely tough for me to play the game. And Corrin does have some really good moves that will just blow me up in disadvantage. Like, it's still playable, especially since you can gimp Corrin. Like, you can gimp Cloud too, but I feel like I catch myself gimping Corrin more. I feel like Corrin's easier to combo and disadvantage. And that's pretty much it. I'm gonna skip Daisy and Dark Pit and Dark Samus for Echoes. Diddy Kong. Diddy Kong's tricky. Because I like this matchup. I'm trying to be unbiased, but it's definitely winning for Yoshi. Like, I feel very comfortable in this matchup. Although that could just be because I haven't played a high level Diddy Kong yet. You know what? I think this is gonna be the first hot take here. I'm gonna put Diddy Kong in +1. Diddy Kong's pretty light, so Yoshi's just able to cheese Diddy Kong. And then, if Diddy Kong is forced to approach with rocket barrels, Yoshi can very easily take that away from him by just nairing in their projected path. And that's a near instant death for them. Side B, shockingly, is also pretty not that bad to deal with. If you're on a platform, if you're on FD, it becomes a lot harder to deal with. But on platforms, this move just becomes not that bad to deal with. They will either try to attack you, and if you're shielding, they'll just go through it anyways. Or if they do the command grab version, It's just gonna be super obvious when they're gonna go for a side B on a platform, and you should have enough time to jump away, roll away, whatever, even attack them. The main thing about this matchup, I feel like, is just platform camping, just being smart on platforms and under platforms. And obviously, with Yoshi being heavy, Diddy Kong's gonna have trouble taking stocks off of us too. So this just turns into a matchup where Diddy Kong has trouble killing us. We don't have trouble killing Diddy Kong, and Diddy Kong's biggest win cons are pretty easily countered just by sitting on platforms and reacting. I could be completely wrong about this, but with the Diddy Kongs that I have played, this is the strategy that I use against them, and it worked pretty well against them. Donkey Kong is definitely harder than Diddy Kong, though. I will say that. Shocking. Like, just like Bowser, I feel like this is an even matchup. Or it might be easier than Bowser, but yeah, I'll put this in even, but we have things that make the matchup feel a tad bit easier. Obviously, the main thing Donkey Kong has is just his hitboxes being ginormous. Like, he doesn't have disjoints, but dealing with his hitbox, it feels like we're dealing with disjoints, especially back air. Like, if Donkey Kong can space back air, it makes it extremely hard for us to be able to punish him. And then Donkey Kong just has a lot of things, I feel like, that are just kind of hard to punish. Not only because of the frame data, but also because of shield stun. And then obviously Donkey Kong having one of the best, if not the best, grab game in the entire game hurts Yoshi a lot, who loves to shield. As Donkey Kong could just kill us at 90 to 100 for shielding. Obviously the things that Yoshi has in this matchup are just being able to combo him to death. But I feel like Donkey Kong doesn't have as much get out of jail free cards as Bowser does. Like, obviously Donkey Kong doesn't have a frame 6. Like, obviously Donkey Kong doesn't have a frame 6 up B out of shield that'll just destroy us. He doesn't have any free landing options. Like, at least Bowser can sometimes cheese with down air. But Donkey Kong has nothing like that, so he just gets comboed infinitely in disadvantage. Obviously he's bigger, so he's going to be easier to hit. And I feel like those things combined just push him above in the tier list. Dr. Mario. Dr. Mario's annoying. Dr. Mario is extremely annoying to play against, admittedly. I'm going to put this in even. The biggest thing Yoshi has in this matchup is being able to edgeguard Dr. Mario, but like, Yoshi could get cheesed, I feel like, trying to edgeguard him. Because, again, Yoshi's a good edgeguarder, but his problem is he doesn't have giant, long-lasting, disjointed moves besides, like, Nair. And if you whiff Nair, you're going to get punished. And even possibly reversal off stage. On stage, dealing with Dr. Mario is a nightmare. Dr. Mario actually does do a decent job of keeping Yoshi out. He has a frame 3 uppy out of shield that just destroys double jump armor. He has pills that are like a top 5 neutral B in the game. And those are super annoying to deal with. He obviously has down throw combos at ledge. Down B itself is annoying to deal with. And then he just has super hard hitting moves that are shockingly safe on shield. Again, the biggest thing Yoshi has in this matchup is being able to edgeguard him, and then just Dr. Mario being so slow that Yoshi can just theoretically run away from him the whole time. Duck Hunt's tricky because I see high-level Duck Hunts and high-level Yoshi say that this matchup is even or losing for Yoshi. But from my experience, I feel like this is pretty obviously a winning matchup for Yoshi. Like, Duck Hunt obviously can keep Yoshi out with Can, Gunman, and Side B, but Duck Hunt just becomes a sitting duck in not pun not intended. He just becomes a sitting duck in disadvantage, especially when he doesn't have Can. Like, if he's able to pull out a Can, that's all cool and all. But the thing about this is that I just keep comboing him in disadvantage anyways, because he's gonna damage himself too when he pulls out Can. And if he's at a higher percent than you, him pulling out Can in disadvantage is extremely risky because of the fact that he could just kill himself off the top with Can. And I've seen that happen a bit before, both in friendlies and in tournament sets. Duck Hunt's best strategy in this matchup, I feel like, is to camp under platforms if he's able to, and then try to shark us landing with his up air, which is one of the few good things he has in this matchup. But Duck Hunt, I feel like, can get edge guarded by Yoshi. Duck Hunt gets cheesed by Yoshi because he's so light. Duck Hunt has one good disadvantage tool, that being Can, which isn't even applicable if it's on the stage already. But Duck Hunt does camp Yoshi. He does camp him. So if the Duck Hunt is campy enough, Duck Hunt can just out camp Yoshi. But if the Yoshi knows how to deal with Duck Hunt camping, the Duck Hunt, I feel like, is just kind of screwed. Again, I could be wrong about this, though. I feel like this is the second hot take of my tier list. Falco. Dr. Curb, I feel like, did a pretty decent job explaining why Yoshi can win this matchup. And I feel the same way. He's just really good at the matchup to make it not seem that way. But if you stop and think about it for a few seconds, most Falcos just do not know how to deal with Yoshi's sheer aggressiveness. Falco does have lasers, but Yoshi, if the Yoshi is good enough, he can just, like, ignore the lasers, because if he gets in against Falco, Falco does not have great disadvantage tools to escape Yoshi combos. So Falco is just gonna eat the damage that he gave the Yoshi anyways. Falco also can have trouble killing Yoshi if you know how to DI the up throw and the back throw, which I shockingly always forget to do. But I do believe that Falco can have trouble killing Yoshi if Falco cannot get a read in certain scenarios. And then obviously with double jump armor, it just makes it harder for Falco to combo Yoshi in general. Yeah, again, I don't have too much to say about this matchup. I could definitely learn more from this matchup. Fox, I feel like is even. Fox is like Falco, except he doesn't have the annoying lasers to deal with, but is fast enough to where Yoshi is not able to camp Fox, and he has to box him. And Fox obviously has great boxing tools, but Fox is just a glass cannon, so Yoshi could just cheese Fox early. It's really just a back and forth matchup. Ganondorf goes here, low key. Maybe even here. Like, Ganondorf is definitely one of the tougher heavyweights to deal with in this game as a Yoshi player. Like, yes, obviously Ganondorf has huge flaws that Yoshi takes advantage of, like comboing. Like, Ganondorf gets comboed forever. He obviously gets edge guarded by Yoshi. The big thing about Ganondorf, though, is that I feel like Nair and up air are just really annoying for Yoshi to deal with. They're both safe. Well, up air, you're really not going to have to be dealing with shield on shield too much, but up air is just amazing at catching landings, catching jump ins from Yoshi, and it sends at a really weird angle too. And then Nair is Ganondorf's best move in this matchup against Yoshi. It breaks egg camping. It's super safe on shield. It combos into his other tools. And sometimes even sets up for tech chases, which Ganondorf could easily kill you early if you're not ready for the tech chase. Plus, up smash is another big thing in this matchup. It's super huge. It covers the entire platform. And if Yoshi's just sitting on the platform, he could very easily get his shield broken. Or if Yoshi, like, empty hop shields right in front of Ganondorf could easily just pull out an up smash and just break Yoshi's shield. If Yoshi's shield's, like, half full or something like that. Obviously, Yoshi, I feel like, still has a good time in this matchup. But I don't think it's as good as people would like to say. Greninja's tricky. Definitely on the lower end of even. Could be here. Because dealing with Greninja is like dealing with Fox. Except I feel like Greninja has more inconsistent tech chase scenarios. But if he's on a platform, they just become more consistent from my experience. He's just able to chase you across the stage. Water Shuriken's extremely good at breaking double jump armor and just killing us extremely early if he just charges it. And then he's just able to catch us off guard too a lot. I'll put it here for now. Hero is another tricky one. I'll also put Hero here. And this is probably just bias. Hero without spells is already tricky enough as it is, but having to deal with hero spells while you're being forced to approach is another issue in itself. Hero, I feel like, just has the correct tools to be able to deal with Yoshi. Like, up till, obviously, amazing at catching Yoshi landings and Yoshi hanging out on platforms. Hero has enough spells to just be able to cheese Yoshi or take his double jump armor extremely early. Yoshi has to be extremely careful when trying to approach Hero. Hero can just full hop forward air. He could, again, up tilt. Hero could just throw on bounce, and now we have to approach him, because if we try to egg camp him, that won't accomplish anything. And then when Hero turns into a Christmas tree, that matchup gets super bad for us, because now he's a character that can just chase us down. We can't outmaneuver him in the air or the ground, and he could very easily pop our shield or kill us at 70 or 80 if he feels like it. Hero's just a wild character for Yoshi to deal with, because he has so much stuff that Yoshi just has to be super careful in dealing with. And if Yoshi isn't ready for it, he's gonna get destroyed in this matchup. It's still playable, but like, it's a very hard matchup. Like, it's a very hard even. Ice Climbers is another very hard even, I feel like. I feel like a big reason why we have trouble in this matchup is Blizzwall. Because if Ice Climbers set up Blizzwall, it basically beats out everything that we do. We can't throw eggs, because the eggs will break before it'll even hit them. If we try to nair or fair ourselves in, we'll get frozen and we'll be stuck in a infinite loop. If we try to egg lay them, we'll either get frozen or we'll grab the wrong one. We'll grab the wrong Ice Climber, and we'll get big punished for that. It really just forces us to play slow, which is extremely annoying against Ice Climbers. And I don't know if this is true, how true this is, but Yoshi double jump armor is, like, barely comes into play in this matchup, I feel like, when the Ice Climbers do eventually get you into a combo. Like, I'm just, like, whenever I get into a combo against an Ice Climbers player, I'm just mashing jump, and I'm still dying at 0. So I don't know if it's a skill issue thing, or if they can just kill Yoshi at 0. Which, if the latter is true, this is definitely the right spot for them. Ike is another tricky one. Because yes, Ike is super slow and has solid weaknesses, but he also has that big ass disjoint. I'm still going to put Ike in plus 0.5 though, because Ike's biggest combo starters all require him to pretty much jump in. And if Yoshi can predict that, he can just, it's just like the Cloud matchup, except now Cloud is a lot slower and has a lot less safer options to deal with Yoshi, is how I sometimes view Ike. Incineroar is also an even matchup. I feel like Incineroar is dead even for Yoshi. Incineroar has the correct tools to just be able to destroy Yoshi double jump armor. He obviously can just stack revenge with eggs, so we can't really egg camp him, or else he'll just spam revenge. And if we make one wrong move against him, we're gonna either take 70 or die. So the big thing saving Incineroar from not being a winning matchup is honestly revenge, because it's a frame 2 counter, I believe. So that just breaks him out of a lot of true Yoshi combos that would just be true anyways. Like most other characters in this game, their fastest escape option is a frame 3 air dodge, which is not fast enough to escape some Yoshi combos. But with Incineroar having a frame 2 counter, he is very easily able to get out of Yoshi combos that would normally be impossible to get out of, and then punish us for it. Inkling is going to be my first hard winning matchup for us. Playing someone like Muffle, it doesn't feel like it, but on paper, it's really not a bad matchup for Yoshi. The big thing about Inkling is that just like these characters right here, they will struggle to kill Yoshi because they have no consistent kill confirm method. But the problem with Inkling is that Inkling just doesn't have any kill power whatsoever unless they either get a hard read or if I get buried with a roller. Which, just like Diddy Kong, if you platform camp and play super freaking slow, the Inkling player will just not be able to do anything. I'm not too great at this matchup because I'd still play aggressive sometimes in the Inkling, which does cost me stocks. But if you play with a level head, this matchup should not be that hard. Isabel's a +1. Isabel feels a lot like Duck Hunt, where she's just able to camp you, but then once you realize how to beat the camp, Isabel just becomes extremely easy to beat. I don't have too much to elaborate on this matchup, and I have been outplayed in this matchup a lot before, but I do believe this is a winning matchup for Yoshi. Joker. Joker. I'm gonna put this in even. Joker is even and not in losing because there's two. It's like playing a boss battle with two phases. Phase 1 is where he doesn't have Arsene, and I actually believe we beat Joker there because Joker has trouble getting well, he doesn't have too much trouble getting percent on us, but he has trouble taking stocks off of us. And he just becomes more inconsistent. We're able to combo, well, not combo, but we're actually able to play aggressive here, if that makes sense. And then when he gets Arsene, though, it becomes a different story, because it feels like he gets more range on his attacks. Obviously, he does a better job with breaking double jump armor. And he's just able to take stocks way earlier. And he's able to cheese way earlier, too. So there's just one part of the matchup where Yoshi wins. There's another part of the matchup where Joker wins. Overall, it balances out to about an even matchup. Jigglypuff, no matter how hard I try to downplay this matchup, it is winning for Yoshi. The fact is that Yoshi is the only character that can outmaneuver Puff in the air, and is the only character that will catch up to Puff in the air, which is Puff's biggest strong suit in this game. Plus the fact that Puff is so lightweight and is the only character that will instantly die to a shield break, and Yoshi has no shortage of shield break setups. It just makes this a matchup where Puff could beat Yoshi, but Yoshi just has way too many tools to be able to just beat Puff. I still don't like this matchup though because Yoshi has to play super careful in the Puff. Like Puff is still able to edgeguard Yoshi. Puff has a lot of really safe moves that Yoshi just isn't able to punish out of shield. And then Puff also has shield break setups. Plus Puff can very easily cheese Yoshi. Like I view this matchup as it's definitely winning for Yoshi, but it's still Jigglypuff. Jigglypuff is still able to cheese you if you're not careful. But this is still winning for Yoshi. Kazuya is hard. This is a hard matchup for Yoshi. The biggest thing holding me back from putting this in even is the fact that Kazuya just has so many moves with super armor or invincibility that just force us to play lame. Like if I tried nairing him, like if I tried hitting him with a late nair into a combo starter, oh, he just electric wind god fists out of it, and he's just able to combo me for free because of it. Yoshi is able to double jump armor himself out of some Kazuya combos, but Kazuya is still just annoying to deal with, where Yoshi has to play super lame and not approach ever. Which obviously we don't like. We like approaching. We'll camp if we have to, but we like approaching. Ken, I don't know where to put Ken and Ryu at. I do think they're even, but I can't really explain why they're even. They're just super annoying to deal with. They're like nuclear bombs that have just enough to put them in even, or else I would put them in minus 0.5. Like, they're still extremely annoying and challenging to deal with at times, but Yoshi can also be just as equally annoying. King Dedede, I'm going to put in +1. I feel like Dedede is definitely one of the easier heavyweights for Yoshi to deal with. Dedede's biggest weakness in this matchup is that Gordo becomes nearly a non-factor if Yoshi can play around it right, because Yoshi can just hard outmaneuver it, or he can just nair the Gordo back, and if he times it right, it'll become pretty much unreactable for King Dedede to shield it or keep side B out and hit him with it again. The toughest Dededes I fought, they all just inhale camped on the edge of a platform. They would inhale, shield if they ever saw me come approaching them, just rinse and repeat. And the main problem with this is that it doesn't really cover them at the top. Obviously, they could cancel the inhale, wait for me to approach them from the top, and then punish me for that, or just see me retreat and then do it again. But this will always put King Dedede in a disadvantageous position, where they're giving up stage control for Yoshi, and Yoshi will just continue to egg camp anyways. And then obviously Dedede does have annoying aerials to deal with on shield. It's commonly nair. I also see up tilt get used a lot in this matchup. And then one of Dedede's best traits in this matchup is being able to shark landings with up air, which can be annoying at times, but Dedede is so slow that you shouldn't ever have to be trying to land against Dedede anyways. It should be free landings against Dedede, unless you're trying to land near him to potentially get a punish. K-Rool is tricky. K-Rool is kind of like Dedede, where he does have a projectile that you can abuse against him, but it's not as consistent. And then King K. Rool's gonna go here because he has one thing that Dedede doesn't, and that's super armor moves. Dedede does have some super armor moves, but they're pretty useless and neutral. But K. Rool has belly armor on over half of his aerials, and usually it's not a big enough issue for K. Rool to have to worry about his shield health or his belly shield health. It's especially annoying trying to catch a K roll landing with up air, and he just throws out a nair, and the nair just outright beats me because of belly armor. The obvious counterplay for this is just to get behind him, but Yoshi can struggle. But Yoshi struggles doing that too because K roll's main game plan against Yoshi is to just camp with Crown and neutral B. So Yoshi has to work to get behind him in the first place. Plus, Yoshi does have trouble killing K roll too. So there's also that in this matchup. Yoshi has to work to get a kill off of K roll, while K roll only needs 3 to 4 hits to get a good kill off of Yoshi. Kirby is definitely here. Definitely harder than Jigglypuff, but still gets heavily cheesed. Is a bit harder to edge guard because he can just swat us away with up air. Forward air is obviously his biggest thing in this matchup. But if we just never interact with it, we should be fine normally. And then down tilt is also really annoying in this matchup. Like, honestly, if Kirby did not have forward air or down tilt, I feel like this would be our best matchup, or one of our best matchups. And then a big thing Kirby also has in this matchup is that Egglay just straight up whiffs half the time, especially if Kirby is going for down tilts. And I try to go for an Egglay, and it just whiffs because Kirby is pancaking. But still, Kirby is just so light that I'm just able to kill him if he makes one mistake at like 60. But definitely one of the more annoying plus ones. Little Mac. Little Mac dead ass is a dead even matchup. And I've talked about this a little before, but the reason why I believe Little Mac is even in this matchup is because Little Mac is fast enough to where you can't really camp him unless if you're platform camping. Little Mac can throw me off. Little Mac can throw you off with just hopping on top of platforms too, and just jump scaring you. He has an amazing up tilt that just straight up combos into up B, which will kill at absurdly early percents. Obviously, he has shield break setups that are annoying for Yoshi to deal with, and then he has that stupid KO punch which goes through shield too. Little Mac has a lot going for himself in this matchup. The biggest thing though is that if he's sprinting, it is extremely hard to be able to hit him with egg, because he just runs under it and is able to punish us for that. And he's one of the only characters in this game that actually can do that. Or he might be the only one. He can do that. Inkling can do that. But Inkling has enough problems in that matchup as it is. Little Mac has an easier time in this matchup. It's just like Falcon, except now Little Mac has super. Except now you have to deal with a character who has tons of super armor and shield sun. And so much shield pushback that it's really hard to be able to punish him out of shield with like a nair. And not to mention, there's that X factor with Little Mac too, where if you choke, if you miss one tech, or if you make one mistake, or if he gets one read off of you, you're dead, no matter how well you played against the character. So I feel like that just puts him in dead even. Lucario is a weird character. I'm still going to put him in +1, but this is definitely one of the weirder characters in this game. Because I feel like Yoshi double jump armor just does so much in this matchup, especially when Lucario has no aura. Because Lucario with no aura, Yoshi will just destroy Lucario. And Lucario's light enough to where Yoshi can cheese Lucario before he can even get to the rage that he would like to get to. But if the player is good enough and can go around Yoshi's big combo finishers and big kill confirms, then Lucario just has a very fun time against Yoshi here. And he's obviously just able to cheese Yoshi. But I still feel like this is one of the better matchups for Yoshi, though. Link, out of the three Links, I feel like Link is definitely the hardest Link to deal with. He's the slowest one, but he also has the hardest Nair to deal with. He has the hardest. He doesn't have the hardest up. He doesn't have the hardest. No, he has the hardest out of shield option to deal with. But he also has the easiest out of shield option to punish. I feel like he's the hardest Link to edge guard. And he's the Link that and he's the Link that I feel like is the hardest one to deal with projectile wise. And also frame data wise. Like, I think the other two Links have better frame data, but in this matchup specifically, and with the range Link gets off of some of his moves, his frame data is really good in this matchup against Yoshi. With Young Link and Toon Link, they're stubby enough to where the disjoints barely matter at times, and Yoshi is still able to get punishes out of shield, even though their frame data is better than Link's. But Link is actually able to space his moves, making it harder for Yoshi to get a good punish. Lucas, it's definitely one of these. I think I'm going to put Lucas here. Just because of my sets with Turtle, Turtle was definitely working a lot harder to take stocks and percent on me, while I was able to just bullshit my way to get stocks on him. Like, and obviously Turtle won those sets because he is a much better player than me, but the fact that he took him to Game 5 twice, I think says a lot about this matchup, where he's doing everything in the book to be able to outplay me, and I'm just throwing out Nair and barely doing anything, and it's working. Like, he's still a very annoying character to deal with, but I feel like Lucas is definitely a better matchup for Yoshi than Ness. Lucina's hard. Lucina's a hard matchup. Out of the four big Fire Emblem clones of Marth, Lucina, Karam, and Roy, it's either Lucina or Marth that's the hardest for me. They're both. I feel like they're both in the -1, which I'll get to Marth in a second. Lucina definitely has a more consistent game plan with Yoshi, while also not having to struggle to kill him at times. I feel like there's not a lot to say about this matchup. Like, I feel like it's pretty obvious that Yoshi does struggle in this matchup. I'm moving on. Luigi. Luigi's tricky. There's so many opinions I have about Luigi where sometimes, I mean, some days I feel like it's even, and on some days I feel like it's a bottom 3, 4, or 5 matchup. I am gonna put him. I'm gonna put him here. I still feel like that is still an even match. Actually, no. Fuck it. I'm putting him down here. Definitely the easiest one of these 5, though. He is shockingly hard to edgeguard with Yoshi. If you try to body block him, he could either cheese you with misfire, or he's gonna put you in a super weird spot. And if you jump, trying to catch his misfire, he is most likely gonna take your double jump armor, and you're just gonna SD because of it. Speaking of double jump armor, it doesn't really do too much in this matchup against Luigi because he just has so many combo starters and finishers to where it doesn't matter that we have double jump because we're still going to take 40 to 50 anyways. Fireball is extremely annoying in this matchup, and so is Zaire. Both those moves just completely cancel out Yoshi's momentum and put Yoshi in a perfect spot for Luigi to follow up with a grab. And then grab, obviously Luigi having such a great grab game is terrifying for Yoshi, because Yoshi, again, loves the shield. And then trying to land in this matchup's annoying too, because Luigi has so many long-lasting moves that just last forever in the air, and he's just sometimes able to keep Yoshi in the air or put Yoshi in a bad position. And then Luigi also obviously has frame 1 escape options. Or he also has really fast escape options that he can also be aggressive with. Like he has Nair, he has down B, and he could escape out of a combo with Nair and potentially even combo off of it or reversal you, which I feel like is insane. So yeah, I'll put him there. Mario, however, I feel like is an even matchup. I feel like this is a dead even matchup. Definitely a lot more tolerable than Luigi. Still has some of the problems that Luigi has, but like definitely toned down. Like Luigi's just a more extreme version of Mario. Marth, I said this before, but he's going in the -1 just because those tipper hitboxes are so annoying to deal with. I don't care how inconsistent they are. They don't feel inconsistent to me whenever I have to play a Marth. Mega Man's another tricky one because I don't get to play against too many Mega Mans. The ones that I have played, though, they make the matchup extremely annoying. So, I'll place Mega Man here for now. I could very easily see him falling down to even here. Meta Knight's a hard winning matchup for us. Half the time we can just ignore Meta Knight's combos. Both of Meta Knight's grab. Meta Knight's grab isn't the greatest thing in the world, and he only has such a small window to be able to combo us off of a grab. Dash attack obviously gets countered by shield, which we love doing. And Meta Knight has nothing that is safe enough for him to go for without us just nairing him for it. Disadvantage wise, it doesn't get better. Meta Knight's obviously light enough to get cheesed, and he doesn't have a good enough disadvantage escape option for us to have to think twice about comboing him. And Meta Knight is stubby enough to where his disjoint doesn't even matter half the time because he's going to be trading with us anyways. So this is definitely one of Yoshi's better matchups. I still feel like Meta Knight could fuck us up though if we don't know the matchup. But on paper, it's an extremely easy matchup for Yoshi. Mewtwo, I feel like, is also in this boat. Mewtwo's hurtboxes just hurt him so much in this matchup, especially with a mashy character like Yoshi, where Mewtwo is just losing out on trades and interactions that he just shouldn't be. And because of our nature, we can just play normally, and Mewtwo will have to suffer the consequences from it. I will say out of these four, Mewtwo is definitely the best character to fight Yoshi out of these four. But I still feel like that Mewtwo is a really good matchup for Yoshi. Mii Brawler. Okay, hot take. I think Mii Brawler is a better matchup for Yoshi than Falcon. There is a reason that Victor Dreamless does not go Mii Brawler against me, and it's because Yoshi, I feel like, pretty comfortably wins this matchup. Like, Brawler obviously still has things, like, he's able to rush down Yoshi, but Brawler just has so much trouble killing. He doesn't have big kill moves that he just spam, unlike Falcon and, who's the other? Falcon, Little Mac, Fox. These guys are all fast to where they don't have to worry about being camped by Yoshi, and they have fast spammable kill options. Mii Brawler doesn't have those things, unless if he's grabbing you and trying to thrupper you, which Yoshi can still escape from out of disadvantage with double jump armor. Like, this hurts Brawler a lot. So unless if you're on, like, PS2 or Small Battlefield trying to play against me, Brawler, then I believe you're fine in this matchup. Min Min. Ignoring my set counter with Randor, I feel like it goes here. Plus 0.5. I feel like Yoshi is just comfortable enough in this matchup. Like, obviously, Min Min has a very easy time keeping out Yoshi with lasers and arms, but Min Min just gets comboed to hell in disadvantage, and Min Min obviously gets edge guarded pretty easily too. Oh, I skipped these two guys, Gunner and Swordfire. Let's see. Actually, I feel like out of these three, I feel like Swordfighter is actually the hardest one for Yoshi to deal with. I feel like they're all +1 matchups, though, because they all have weaknesses that Yoshi could pretty easily exploit. But I feel like out of these three, I feel like Gunner is the easiest one for Yoshi to deal with, shockingly. I feel like Brawler is in the middle, and then Swordfighter is the hardest one for Yoshi to deal with. But Yoshi outcamps Swordfighter, Yoshi just outcombos Gunner, and Yoshi just outlives Brawler. So all three of those characters just have a fatal flaw that Yoshi can just take advantage of tenfold. Game & Watch. This might be a hot take, but if you've watched my set with 2Papa, you know this is a really good matchup for Yoshi. And if you've seen Pharaoh versus Mia, you also know. Because Pharaoh is able to take Mia to Game 5 by cheesing him a lot. Game & Watch has a common struggle with most of the other characters in this losing tier up here, or this winning tier up here, and that he's just extremely light, so he just gets cheesed. He does have an advantage over the other lightweight characters in that he does have good out-of-shield options to contest with Yoshi. But Yoshi, if he spaces correctly, he doesn't have to deal with Game & Watch up B. Yoshi can trade with down air if he times it right. Yoshi can punish up B out-of-shield if he does it right. Obviously, Yoshi circle camping is huge in this matchup, and then Game & Watch struggling to kill if Yoshi just isn't interacting with Game & Watch is also huge. I feel like this could easily be lower, like a 0.5, but I'm pretty comfortable in this matchup. Ness isn't even. Ness is tricky. Ness is a lot trickier than Lucas. Ness moves are just so much more spammable than Lucas, it feels like. PSI Magnet obviously fucks us up. Ness has down and up smash too that also just linger on the ledge, and that makes recovering against, and that makes getting back on stage hard. Obviously he has back throw, which super cheesable. He just is able to keep us in the air forever with up air. The good thing about this matchup is that ground game we win, but if we try contesting him in the air, we're screwed. So it really just depends on the state of the matchup. Pac-Man goes here. Pac-Man only goes here just because he has an absurdly difficult time killing him. Like when I play against Mr. Spikes, there are numerous times where I'm living past 200 simply because I'm just avoiding him. And I'm just avoiding hydrants and projectiles. And that's the only reason why I feel like this is plus 0.5 and not an even. Because if Pac-Man was able to kill me consistently at even 150 or 125, it would be a dead even matchup. But the fact that Pac-Man can just have so much trouble killing that consistently puts it in even. And I brought this up earlier with Bayo, but Bayo is just much harder to deal with in neutral, and trying to punish her in general is just so much harder to deal with. But with Pac-Man, it's a little bit more straightforward. He doesn't have as crazy frame data as Bayo. Palutena, I've been crashing the fuck out over this character recently. And I feel like Palutena is my first minus 1.5. Palutena just has every tool in the book to just be able to just destroy Yoshi. And I don't feel like you should be losing this matchup. Like, Auto Reticle and Explosive Flame are both extremely annoying to deal with, and I have to constantly be guessing when they're going to throw it out. Yoshi really can't punish any of Palutena's aerials. Nair has that dumbass landing hitbox. Fair and Bear are super safe while also being able to be spaced. And what Palutena is going to throw out landing up air on shield, or landing down air on shield. Speaking of up air, that's one of the best moves at keeping Yoshi in the air. Plus, if Palutena gets the hands on you or grab, she's going to nair you to hell. Nair is an extremely good tool at keeping Yoshi out. The best way for Yoshi to play here is just to stay grounded and try to poke Palutena with pivot grabs, up tilts, and F tilts. And just try to combo her like that. But other than that, Yoshi really has a hard time dealing with Palutena. And I feel like this is an easy bottom 5 matchup for Yoshi. Peach. Peach is super tricky because I never play Peach. Like, the last time I played against a Peach was Dawn at a Midgard Mayhem, and I got my ass whooped there. But every other Peach I've played against, I've had little issue beating them. I'll still put it in even, but that is really just a matchup where I can't say too much about it. But Yoshi has to play patient, I realize. The rats. Pichu is definitely easier than Pikachu. Me personally, I would much rather fight Pikachu than Pichu, because Pichu is just so explosive, it's hard for me to deal with personally. But Pichu is just so cheesable, and Pichu is just forced to approach us because if they try to camp us, they are just gonna end up taking themselves out. And then Pikachu is also in that same boat, but obviously they're Pikachu, so it's a little easier for them. Actually, I'll put it here. Actually, no, definitely at the top of that tier though. Pikachu's around that area, and then Pichu, obviously, we win against. Pikachu actually can camp against Yoshi, and that's like Pikachu's only method, or viable strategy to win. Pikachu obviously has trouble killing Yoshi. Pikachu really doesn't have that many consistent killing options, besides random drag down nairs. Besides, like, random drag down stuff that Yoshi can just shield out of. And then Pikachu does have up throw, which will eventually kill Yoshi, but Pikachu is just so light that Yoshi should realistically be finding a kill option before Pikachu. And then Yoshi has anti-airs to keep Pikachu in disadvantage too. A big thing that both of those characters have going for them is that they are able to pancake under eggs sometimes, and especially egg lay. But I feel like both characters struggle heavily against egg and have to play around it. Olimar is another character I don't have that much experience with. I'm also going to place him in even though. But if I had to play against like Arctic's Olimar, I have no idea how I would do in that matchup. But I'm playing it safe and throwing it in even, though. Based on what I know about the character, though, I feel like they're definitely going to be the hardest lightweight for me to deal with. Piranha Plant. Okay, if you know me, you know how much I fucking hate this character. I do not like Piranha Plant at all. One word, Patooey. Patooey completely ruins Yoshi's entire game plan pretty much. Because Yoshi has to revolve his game plan completely around that move. If Yoshi wants to land with a late nair to start a combo, or an F tilt, up tilt to start a combo, sorry. Sorry, you can't do that now because of Patooey. Want to land egg lay? Nope, Patooey. The plan is just annoying enough outside of Patooey too, to just make the matchup a gauntlet for Yoshi. I feel like out of all the characters in this -1 though, Piranha Plant is definitely the biggest skill issue character here. But I don't care. I freaking hate that character. So I'm placing him at -1. But I will admit, this right here is probably bias. Pit. I think Pit goes here. Pit has a big recovery, but it's also kind of exploitable to where it doesn't really matter too much. Yoshi can get out of most of Pit's multi-hits with double jump armor anyways. And Pit can struggle to kill Yoshi. But other than that, it's a pretty even matchup. I don't feel like Pit has too many good things against Yoshi, other than trying to cheese with side B, which Dark Pit's better at than Pit anyways. Then Arrow, obviously, is probably the biggest thing Pit has against Yoshi, because if Yoshi's off stage without a jump, Arrow just completely destroys us off stage. Pit's good at the early stage of the game against Yoshi, but during the later stages of the game, if the Yoshi plays careful, it could be extremely hard for Pit to find a kill confirm. Pokemon Trainer is tricky. I'll go through these one at a time. Squirtle I feel like is slightly winning for Yoshi. Ivysaur I feel like is even for Yoshi. And Charizard I also feel like is even. I feel like out of the three characters there, I feel like Squirtle is definitely the best one definitely the best one for Yoshi to deal with. The worst character, it low-key might be Charizard. Low-key, Charizard might actually be the hardest Pokemon for Yoshi to deal with out of the three. But overall, I feel like it's just an even matchup. I don't think there's nothing too special for either character in this matchup that will swing the tide in either player's favor. Pyramithra, I feel like this one's pretty obvious. I'm not going to explain too much about it, but Mithra and Pyra are both just awful for Yoshi to deal with. If Mithra was just her own character and if Pyra was just her own character, then they would both probably just land in -1, but the fact that they're combined as a character together just makes this matchup extremely hard for Yoshi. Mithra obviously is the harder character for Yoshi to deal with. She just does so much damage on Yoshi, and she has Foresight, which she's able to escape most Yoshi combos with that anyways. And she's able to tech chase Yoshi for days and just rack up percent. But it wouldn't be that much of an issue if she was just her own character, because she would still have to work for a kill. But then Pyra comes in, and Pyra is just a menace. Yoshi has so much trouble punishing all of her aerials, pretty much. If Yoshi is caught lacking above her, he's dead. If Pyra dares Yoshi through a platform, he's dead. Other than that, Pyra's slow enough for Yoshi to be able to take advantage of her, but Pyra only needs one hit for Yoshi to die, it feels like. Then obviously Pyra just does such a good job at breaking Yoshi double jump armor. I'm gonna skip Richter. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna deal with Simon. But Ridley. Um, I'll place him here. Ridley does have some disjoints that do make it challenging for Yoshi to play against him. But Ridley is just such a combo heavy character. Or not. He just gets comboed so hard, and then he gets cheesed despite his big size. He's kind of like in the same area as Mewtwo, but like not as bad, where he just has a big hurt box, but he just gets comboed, and he gets comboed to death, but he's also light enough to die pretty early on. So I'll put him in plus 0.5 for now, but I could very easily see it going down here. Robert. For the longest time, I put Rob here. After playing the matchup some more, I feel like it's definitely here now. Rob does have very extreme moves that Yoshi has to constantly deal with. Like Nair is super annoying to deal with. Fair is annoying to deal with. I'm trying to think of what else he has. Alt Bear is annoying to deal with. But the thing about Rob is that he still gets comboed pretty hard. And if he gets his gyro taken away from him, then he's gonna be in some trouble. Not a whole lot, but enough trouble for him to start worrying. Obviously, gyro also does wonders in this matchup. He's able to edgeguard Yoshi with it. He's able to take double jump away with it. He's able to pressure Yoshi with it. It controls the neutral. It can force Yoshi to full hop over it, which obviously Rob has amazing options to cover full hop. I still feel like Yoshi slightly wins the matchup, though. I'm still stubborn on that. Robin, this character could go to hell, but it's even. Robin is just like Ness in a way. I feel like trying to fight Robin and trying to fight Ness, they're extremely similar matchup wise, despite how different of characters they are. It's weird. Rosa also actually, yeah, Rosa only goes in 0.5 because of how big she is and how light she is. Or else I feel like she'd be an even matchup. Roy. I've had some insane takes about Roy's over the years. And I still have crazy takes about Roy. Like, I do not like this character sometimes. I'm going to put him in minus 0.5. I said I'd get back to him at the very beginning of this tier list. And honestly, I do feel like it is an uphill battle for Yoshi sometimes. I know some select people do not feel this way about this matchup, but looking at it from a standpoint perspective, actually, Roy is probably the easiest character in this minus 0.5 tier to deal with. But the way I view this matchup is, imagine trying to fight Falcon or Little Mac, but now they have a disjoint, which makes it 10 times harder. Yes, that disjoint is extremely inconsistent, but the fact that they have a disjoint at all makes the matchup 10 times harder. Yes, Roy still has obvious flaws, though. He's still pretty easy to cheese and edgeguard. He's still... I was gonna say he's inconsistent, but honestly, when Roy is pressuring Yoshi at on the ledge, he is one of the best characters, or I wouldn't say the best. I'd say the best character at taking Yoshi double jump armor is either Pyra or Steve, but Roy is very close up there when it's time to take Yoshi double jump armor at high percents. Fair usually does a good job at it. Backer usually does a good job at it. Usually it's just those two moves I see, but that's more than enough. And then Roy is like one of the few characters that actually gets rewarded from breaking Yoshi double jump armor. Normally most characters, when they break Yoshi double jump armor, they usually just retreat because I'm still able to throw out like a nair or just something just to get them away or off of me. But Roy just says screw that, goes for another fair or a jab, or just freaking combos off of my double jump breakage and is able to kill me off of it. So, and Crom does that too, probably better than Roy, but Roy's sweet spot really matters here. I will say, out of these 5 characters, Roy is probably the one I would push up to dead even if I had to. But he is definitely one of the harder matchups for Yoshi. Still entirely winnable though. But he is just so annoying to deal with. Ryu is in the same boat as Ken. Don't really have too much to say on this matchup. Samus, female Hitler. I hate how Yoshi's only god-awful matchups are female Hitler. And Samus, despite being so different from these other two, is just as bad for like completely different reasons. Because Samus is one of the few characters that's just completely able to outcamp Yoshi, and Yoshi just has to play to her game. And Samus is so good at playing her game. Sephiroth, definitely on the losing end here. I'll put him at -1. The thing about Sephiroth is that he is tricky to edgeguard with Yoshi, because you're not beating out Octoslash, so you have to try and catch him if he's gonna double jump. And then he has some tools to get you off of him too when he's off stage, like Nair, for example. Nair just beats me out. Like usually I do not go for the edge guard against Sephiroth. Like I try to even stay away from ledge against Sephiroth, because Octoslash is a really good move to use to get Yoshi away from you on ledge. But if Sephiroth did not have one wing, I would low-key put him here or even here. But the one wing makes the matchup a lot harder for me, at least. So I'll put him in -1. Sheik, I feel like is an even or a +0.5 matchup, but she's just another character that I do not have too much experience with. Simon's +1, not +1.5. I feel like Simon's like really freaking tricky to deal with, but I'm just able to combo him to death if I get close, which Yoshi definitely wins this matchup, but I don't feel like it's as bad as the Belmont players want you to believe. Shulk, definitely down here. Low-key, he's right here. I feel like Yoshi Shulk has just been getting a little bit easier over the years. Like, he's getting easier to edgeguard than... I feel like he's easier to edgeguard than all these characters, especially when he doesn't have jump. His moves are laggy enough to be predictable enough for Yoshi to deal with. I feel like he's the hardest to deal with when he has Smash and Speed arts on. When he has Smash, he can cancel Yoshi double jump armor sometimes, and he can very easily cheese Yoshi with Smash art. And with Speed art, it's like having to fight like a Roy, for example. Like a Roy or a Mithra with a big ass disjoint, and that gets extremely freaky to deal with. And then Shulk can obviously edgeguard Yoshi back with Fair, covering basically everything in front of him. Snake. Snake is tricky. I did lose to Perp Snake very recently, but I'm also up 3-0 on Root Snake, who was Neo PR a couple times. I feel like Snake is just a harder version of Duck Hunt. Like, Snake has the tools that Duck Hunt is missing, but still has the flaws that Duck Hunt has. That I'm just able to play against Snake the same way as Duck Hunt, but I have to respect Snake a lot more because he is solid Snake. Sonic is my fourth minus 1.5 or lower matchup. You have to be on crack in order to think this matchup is even, or even slightly losing. Like, the more I play this matchup, the more I'm realizing just how much Sonic has going in this matchup. Yoshi has to work his ass off in order to get an interaction against this character, I feel like. Sora goes here. The big thing Yoshi has going for this matchup against Sora is that Yoshi is able to sit under platforms and just outcamp Sora. It just basically turns into a big snooze fest in this matchup. This is a very boring matchup in Ultimate, sadly. And then Sora has a really easy time keeping Yoshi in disadvantage too, with his long-lasting anti-airs. Steve. I'm gonna put him here. I feel like Pharaoh's the only Yoshi out there that will, besides like maybe some Japanese Yoshi, that will say that this matchup is even. And that's because I feel like he has tons of experience against Syrup. But to me, this matchup is even until Steve gets Diamond. Once Steve gets Diamond, then this matchup just becomes extremely hard. I don't like this matchup either. I do not like Terry Yoshi. And this is definitely going to be a hotter take. But I feel like Yoshi has to work his ass off against Terry. Terry has shockingly deceptive moves that just beat out Yoshi's best moves in the air, like Nair, back air, forward air. Terry forward air is a menace. Terry Nair is a menace move. And especially on Wi-Fi, this character is... If I was making a Wi-Fi tier list, Terry honestly might be a bottom 5 matchup for Yoshi. But considering offline, I feel like Terry does have some advantages here, but it's not enough to where I would say that Terry just flat out wins this matchup. Again, it just depends on the day for me, but I don't like this character. Toon Link, I feel like is winning for Yoshi. I don't have too many reasons why I can say this is winning. I just have like a feeling. It's like a strange feeling I have where it's winning, or at the very least even. Villager, absolutely Yoshi wins against. Pretty much the same reasons as Isabelle. But Villager just has an even harder time killing Yoshi over Isabelle. Wario, I honestly don't have too much experience with. I'll put him in even, though. Because I do feel like those two characters just box each other out anyways. Wii Fit Trainer is also an even matchup. This character is just extremely weird for Yoshi to deal with. She just does so many things that I'm just confused at half the time. Wolf, I feel like goes down here. Wolf is definitely the hardest spacey for Yoshi to deal with. And a big reason for that is laser. If Yoshi was able to short hop over laser, it would be different, but Yoshi is forced to full hop over it. He's forced to either sit back and shield it or full hop over it. And Wolf, like Rob, has a lot of ways to just beat out Yoshi in the air with moves like fair, back air, neutral air. And then Wolf has the mobility to keep up with Yoshi too. Young Link, I feel like, is also plus 0.5, maybe even 0.1. I feel like Young Link is definitely the easiest Link for Yoshi. the easiest Link for Yoshi to deal with. Like, his mobility helps him out the least, honestly. Like, Link has worse mobility, but Link also has harder hitting moves that just make it more annoying for Yoshi to deal with. Young Link has trouble killing Yoshi because Young Link can't get the consistent kill confirms that he can get with most other characters because of double jump armor. Zelda, I just have an issue with her. I can imagine Yoshi winning that, but it's just a super annoying matchup. And this is probably one of the biggest skill issue ones I have here. Like, let's see. I only got one character left, that being Zero Suit, I believe. Zero Suit also goes in even. But again, I don't have enough experience with Zero Suit to say for sure. Okay, I'm kind of tired. I've been recording this for an hour and a half. Looking at this tier list, it is super pessimistic. Like, I got so many characters down here that are just minus 0.5 or harder. And I feel like people are definitely going to question me about Piranha Plant, but I will stand by this choice till the end of time because I fucking hate this character so much. I feel like people will question me about Diddy Kong, Duck Hunt, and Game & Watch 2. You know what? That's a future Yoshi problem. If you guys enjoyed the video, please make sure to give a like and subscribe. And I'll see you guys later. Peace.